Hi guys, and welcome back to the LINA BHUDIA podcast. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and turn on the notifications for more from me. So 2020 has been an absolute ride, literally for the whole world. Here in the UK, we saw the virus wave heading our way. We literally watched the data crawl across Europe. We knew it was coming our way. We went into lockdown a little too late, some might say, but that's a whole nother argument. The lockdown eased. Parts of England went back into lockdown, but not a full lockdown. The tier system was introduced. We questioned whether Christmas would be cancelled or not. We questioned whether schools should be closed or not. It's not been fun. It's been horrific, quite frankly. And now the latest to hit London and some parts of the south, and some parts of Essex as well, I think, is that as of tomorrow, Wednesday, we're in tier 3 in response to a sharp rise in cases. So what is tier 3? It's the highest restriction whereby most outdoor mixing is banned, which not only impacts socializing and well-being with friends and family, but the hospitality industry gets a pretty big hit too, because they're not allowed to open to the public. So I think you can still order takeout, you can do like deliveries and things like that, but forget sitting in a restaurant or a pub. And this close to Christmas, like imagine all the wasted foods now that restaurants have ordered in prep for kind of that last minute Christmas rush, in the hope that they would get people this week and next week, which they're now not going to get. And hours for employees, which now won't be fulfilled, because obviously you don't need employees if you don't have an open restaurant. And for the employees, there's also the matter of tips, which some of them rely on, which they're now not going to get. And, this now begs the question, again, is 2020 Christmas cancelled? Does the government pick controlling the virus, or do they go ahead with a religious occasion? It's a tough one. It's tough. I think this is one of those situations whereby no matter what they choose to do, there's going to be backlash, because some people will argue that getting a hold of the virus and doing everything possible to reduce cases is the most important thing to do right now, and that we can go 1 year without Christmas. It's 1 year. And it's a strong argument, especially when you consider how many people have been and are being right now, currently, are being affected by this horrible virus. It's taking lives, and people aren't allowed to have the funerals that they want to have with their full friends and family. People are literally joining funerals via video calls. Like, that's just mental. It's awful. There's people with illnesses other than corona who aren't being treated because hospitals need to prioritise the coronavirus patients. But then that takes me on to the other side of the argument, whereby we do have Christmas. We go ahead with Christmas. A smaller celebration, but a celebration nonetheless, where families can come together, because I think we have to consider that there are people out there of a particular age who deep down may know that they might not make it to next Christmas because of their age, and they may be wanting to spend what could be their last Christmas with their children and their grandchildren. And there's people out there with other illnesses, who may have had their time left limited because of this other illness, and they too will want to spend time with their loved ones before their illness gets the better of them. Christmas is a time to be with family and to be happy and to rest up. And there's plenty of families that only get together once a year as a full family. You know, people work, they've got kids, school holidays, all sorts of reasons why they can't get together during other times of the year. But they consciously make a huge effort to come together for Christmas. That's the one time that they do it. Should these people be denied their Christmas? Especially if you think about those where it could be their last Christmas. I think a lot of people are kind of in the mindset of, it's only 1 year, we don't need to have Christmas, it's fine, we'll do it next year. For some people, there isn't going to be next year. And I think that's like the strongest argument for having Christmas. Because when Diwali happened, me and my family didn't get to celebrate Diwali, and our mentality towards it was, okay, fine, you know, we've got this virus, everyone's in the same boat, let's just put the pause button on Diwali, and once things are a bit more settled and we are in a position where we can celebrate it safely, we will. And I think some people are open to doing Christmas in a similar sort of fashion. We can't celebrate it right now, the cases are going up, that's fine. Let's wait until the new year and see what happens, and we'll consciously make the effort to celebrate. Whereas other people are kind of dead set, it's tradition, it's religion. They want to do Christmas when it's Christmas because that's the time you do it, right? So there's arguments 2 and 4. And I think both are strong arguments. So ultimately it just comes down to what's the right thing to do for the whole, for everyone. And, you know, I come from a family who can very easily skip Christmas. Skipping Diwali wasn't that much of an issue for us. We don't really talk that much. It's quite a transactional family for us rather than a kind of loving, huggy, that type of family. So for me, cancelling Christmas, don't cancel Christmas, it won't make a difference to me. But it's difficult when you're dealing with an entire country of vastly differing families and opinions and cultures. It's a lose-lose situation. You know, ultimately, we went into lockdown originally later than we should have. Loads of people have broken lockdown rules, including celebrities, including members of government. Schools, I don't think should have opened up when they did, and maybe should have closed. I know some schools are now starting to close ahead of Christmas already. I think all schools should have done that, in my opinion. I know plenty of people who have caught the virus off their kids who picks it up from school. You know, there's still loads of people not wearing masks or social distancing. And what do we do about that? Right? Like, not much, which is why they continue to break the rules. Like, if the government can get away with it, then so can members of the public, right? I think that's a valid opinion of some people. If celebrities and members of the government aren't following the rules, why should the public? Now, don't get me wrong, I've followed the restrictions. I wear a mask, I've been social distancing and working from home. But if someone genuinely doesn't believe in these restrictions because they still believe in conspiracy theories or whatever it may be, can you blame them for breaking the rules when the people in charge aren't following their own guidelines or getting away with it, like blatantly getting away with it? I just think that there's been so many mistakes made that at this point, let's just go ahead with Christmas. I think Christmas should not be cancelled. I get that the cases are going up. I get all the rest of it, but this has been borderline shambolic from the get-go, that I don't think members of the public are prepared to respect whatever decision gets made here, and they'll just make the call themselves. And also because I think it will be contradictory to cancel Christmas. Like, why can we get on a bus or a train with strangers who are not forced to wear a mask, but we can't meet with our own families in a small number? Like, children can sit in classrooms of much larger numbers than are allowed into their own homes. We've literally got strangers queuing outside of Primark in larger numbers than are able to sit around a table for dinner. It doesn't make sense. It's really contradictory. So I think we should just go ahead with Christmas. I think that's the decision that the government should make, and just list out some very clear restrictions. So smaller numbers, don't travel the world to see family, have dinner, go home, and that's it. But it just hasn't worked that way going for, like, since we've gone into lockdown. It's always been, you're in lockdown, but only if this, and you can do this, but don't do it like this, and do this. But there's just been so many kind of wishy-washy strategies applied to the lockdown and the easing of lockdown. Well, I just think I can just imagine Boris doing another statement and saying, Christmas is on, but you can do this, but you can't do this, and just contradicting himself in one straight sentence. I can just see him doing it because he's already done it so many times before. I think the government really needs to get their strategy in order and be a lot more decisive and faster with their decision making, because I think that's the thing that's really infuriating people, that things aren't happening fast enough, and that when they do make decisions, it's very wishy-washy. But in my opinion, I think go ahead with, my stomach just grumbled. I don't know if you heard that. But in my opinion, I think we should just go ahead with Christmas with just those very clear guidelines into how it's done, and make sure that people know that it needs to be a much smaller deal. Please don't travel. If you're okay to delay your Christmas plans into the new year, where hopefully things will be settled, then please do that. Like, because I can't imagine like every single person who celebrates Christmas and has Christmas dinner is actually genuinely religious about it. A lot of it is tradition. A lot of it is just people, I think, making the most of time off work and just coming together as a family. But of course, you do have those where it is a deeply religious aspect of their culture. But I think the message should be, have Christmas much, much smaller than you would normally do it. But if you are in a position where you can delay your Christmas plans, delay them. It's fine. Our cases are going up. Please, can you respect the data and make a decision that's right for you? And of course, that would cause some uncertainty because we don't know what the new year is going to look like. We don't know how much longer we're going to be in lockdown. We don't know if it's going to be a full lockdown. We don't know if it's going to be tier 1, tier 2 or tier 3. But I think that's just a gamble that people, if they can, if they're willing to, will need to take. But cancelling Christmas, I can just see a whole bunch of people just not even listening and just going ahead with their plans anyway. So I would say, if it was down to me, I would say let's just do Christmas, those kind of limited days that the government have set out where you can have Christmas with the smaller numbers, and then get back into lockdown. Because I think there's been so many contradictions, and I get that we need the economy to strive, and we need to make money, to spend money, and a lot of the spending is wages, which people need. But I think when we jumped back at the first opportunity, allowing people to flood stores, that just was not the one. We shouldn't have done that. Like, I can't help but wonder, could we have been in a better place now if better, faster decisions had been made initially? Who knows? And we won't know. But for now, I think we just need to get Christmas out of the way. I think cases will rise over Christmas, but that will be the next chapter of this tragic story, and hopefully December 2021 will look a lot better than 2020, because for this year, this whole year, it has been bleak, right? And I don't think Christmas is going to be any better. We're like, what, a week and a half away from Christmas, and it's just looking very bleak, very... Is it a week and a half? What day is it today? I don't know. I think we're about 10 days away from Christmas, and it's just looking incredibly bleak and not the celebration that we would want to have. But this, we're all in the same boats. Every culture out there has probably had to forfeit one type of religious festival or another, whether it's Diwali, whether it's Thanksgiving, whether it was Christmas. Sacrifices have had to be made, and unfortunately that's just the year that 2020 has called for with this virus. It's really put us to the test. It's really put us through a lot of hurdles that we aren't used to. But I think we as people need to show our resilience to get through this. We need to make smart decisions that work not just for ourselves personally, but for the whole. It really infuriates me when people are like, well, I'm not in the vulnerable category, so this doesn't apply to me. It does apply to you, because if you catch the virus, you're going to pass it on to people, and you don't know if someone next to you is a vulnerable person or not. Just because they don't look like they are of the older generation or don't look like they are a newborn doesn't mean that they don't fall into the vulnerable category. There may be an illness there, an underlying illness that you cannot see but is there and will impact them and could change their life forever, and their friends and their families. So I think we just need to be smarter. We need to make smarter decisions. Take what the government gives you. Follow the rules when they are set out clearly. If they allow you to be flexible, don't be selfish and just make the right decision. And I mean, that's the only way we're going to get through this, is if we all work together. Like, this isn't controlled by one person. We all have to work together to get through this. And hopefully December 2021, we can all celebrate Christmas, and this will be a thing of the past, and we'll all be sitting around the dinner tables this time next year, laughing about what a shit show 2020 was, but that we were able to get through it, and we'll remember those who unfortunately lost their lives and hopefully didn't do that in vain, and we can come out of this stronger and better as people and really show our humanity towards people and our caring natures for people. But yeah, I think that's where I'll leave this. Hopefully this will be the last of the negative thoughts and feelings for 2020, and we can move on to bigger and better times for 2021. And until next time, I'll see you soon, guys. Bye.